eran las cosas.
Preguntas que no sean preguntas que no sean relacionadas a Ucrania también se pueden preguntar.
Okay.
You want me to ask the questions?
¿Quieren alguien hacer alguna pregunta? Alguien.
Allá.
Hi, how are you? I am Aleva. I want to ask you because I have some friends from Russia here in Mexico City, but the siblings they live in Ukraine. Whenever you were in Ukraine, did you see this kind of problems related that they were soldiers from Ukraine with the Russians, that they were family?
That they were tortured?
Yes.
No, I didn't see with my eyes the torture. But what I did see is the people that they killed by shooting them and the dead. I saw women that was raped and then they burned half of their body. I don't want to give you too graphic descriptions. I'm against this kind of pornography. But yes, definitely. And as a matter of fact, there were so many cases like of torture and making atrocities to civilian population, especially in that airport that I told you, in the vicinity of that airport. They were so frustrated. And the column that was supposed to come to them and bring them food and gasoline didn't come. And they were so furious. They didn't have I saw bodies of Russian soldiers dressed in women lingerie, not because they are sexual. They didn't have clothes to change. It was horrible, believe me. It is not. In the beginning, I also saw that this is a Ukrainian, fake news. But then when I saw it with my eyes, look, when I see massacre, I know. Okay.
I would like to ask you, there is a lot of fake talks about the health of Putin. Do you know something?
Okay. First of all, I don't know. I know Putin well. I interviewed him once. I'll show you later a picture of Putin and me. He looks today much different than he looked 5 years ago when I interviewed him and when I talked to him. He looks fatter. He looks as if he got steroids. Whether it is serious or not, whether it might kill him or not, I doubt it. He's still in control. He's still losing. He is megalomaniac, but as a megalomaniac, he's quite not a Russian. So my experience is, I heard these stories about being sick, about Hafiz Assad, the father, about Saddam Hussein, about everybody. They all died not of a disease, but from a bullet or being hanged in their neck. So don't hold your breath. It is not the illness that will kill Putin, but the circle of his close friend. If someone will do it, will be his friend in the army, in the Russian army, not the opposition.
And do you think that's gonna happen?
Yes.
I just want to ask, do you really, what's the possibility of a close friend of his actually killing him?
Say it again, slow.
What is the possibility of a close friend of his actually killing him? Like you just said.
what I said, maybe I was not clear. If he will be brought down, it will be by the close circle of his friends, of his supporters, and the Russian army commanders. But to be yes. Yes.
Sorry, I think we are all surprised about the resistance of Ukraine, still resisting. What are your odds? What do you think it will happen? How will this end?
Okay.
When will this end?
I think, or it looks, not only me, but all experts are almost unanimous that it will go on like this for a long time, because the only one that can stop the war now is Putin. He started, he can stop it. And Putin is not looking for a face saving. You know, we should give him something and he will go away. By the way, the Americans don't want the war to stop. Okay, good question. Why is it a good question? Because I have an answer. And the answer is that the longer the war is going on, and the Americans and the British and the Germans are equipping the Ukrainians with more and more sophisticated and efficient weapons, and the more the war drags on, it weakens Russia. And the Americans want to teach the Americans and the West want NATO. Europeans too, because the Europeans, one of the results of the war is that the Europeans got scared. All of a sudden, you know, the Europeans were preaching to Israel, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. All of a sudden, they realized that these peace-loving people are almost under the boots of the Russian soldiers. That is why the German chancellor all of a sudden announced an arming program of the German Bundeswehr. Today they are called Bundeswehr. I used almost the word from World War II. The German Bundeswehr got 100 billion euros to get rearmed, retrained. The Europeans were scared to death. And now they support the United States when they say the longer the war goes on, it weakens Russia. The fact is that it is a bit cynical, because the longer the war goes on, the more Ukrainians and more Russian soldiers are dying. And the Ukrainian economy is also going down. And the Russian economy is going down. And you know that Ukraine and Russia are one of the biggest grain suppliers of the world, especially third world countries. Israel gets a lot of its grain. As a matter of fact, most of our grain we got from Ukraine. Now we are going to Azerbaijan to buy oil and grains and eggs. We import a lot of eggs from Ukraine. And now Putin did a very clever thing. He blocked the Black Sea beaches so the Ukrainians cannot export their grain. And Putin shamelessly store this grain, most of them in barns around the Black Sea, and he's trying to sell it to African countries. Believe me, this Putin is no good man. Okay? Yes.
I have one last question. You have already partially answered my question, but the first question is, it is very sad when you see that our war...
In my age, I don't hear so well. Please.
Okay. It's very sad when You haven't heard me? You've heard? Yes.
No, I didn't. The first part of the question I heard. Now the second.
No, my first question is, it is very sad when a war gets normalized. It became to a point when at the very beginning we were all very scared. As you say, Europe was scared. We were all in suspense. But now so many months have gone by that it has stopped being news. And yet, a lot of people are dying every single day on both sides.
That's correct.
So as you say, I think it's very cynical, but at the same time I say, economically, at world level, the impact that this world war is having, because we come from 2 years...
Is it a question or a speech?
No, it's a question. We're coming from 2 years of COVID, and then add to this so many months of war. Where will the world be standing in 3-4 months from now when the war is finished, when all of the economic things are also being implied? And Israel's position in all of this, when they have to be friends of the United States and of Russia, it's also a bit complicated. So,
okay, Israel is unimportant in this. Although both Zelensky and Putin asked Bennett, our prime minister, to mediate, Israel is not a real player in this war. But your question is a serious question. What will the world do in 3-4 months when it lacks the grain and it lacks the thing? They are already making, and there is some negotiations with the Russians that they will open a sort of a safe corridor in the Black Sea to export Ukrainian grain. Not only grain, but agriculture products. But as usual, the Russians says, okay, but you have to pull away the maritime mines that you put in the water of the Black Sea, and we have to inspect the ships, which means to show that it is done, as a matter of fact, as a charity by the Russians to the third world, and not as... So I think they will find some compromise. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looks that the Russians themselves, because the Russians are big exporters of grain, and the most cleverly is asking third world countries not to buy Russian grain. Not only not to buy Russian oil and Russian gas, but not to buy Russian. So I believe there will be back and forth on these things, but my hunch is that they will find a solution. That was it. Thank you very much.